Hey everybody, Chrissy Tobis here today for Kindred Stamps, and I'm going to show you how to make those cards. They are with the new New York Comedy stamp set from Kindred Stamps. And the way that I created that background was stencils, and then I masked off the area to keep it nice and white and bright. So I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this little guy from New York Comedy. I'm going to stamp it twice. I'm going to stamp it once on a piece of masking paper, which is what this is right here. And then while I'm at it, because I knew that I was also going to make a second card, I'm stamping this other crazy guy onto the same masking paper. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut it out. So you can see I'm just fussy cutting. Now, if you have a coordinating die cut or you want to use a scan and cut or something like that, you certainly can. These particular stamps don't have die cuts, but you can use your brother's scan and cut. However, keep in mind that if you are using a different stamp set and using a traditional die, there's a little bit of space around the edges, so you really don't want to do that. You want to trim as close to the actual image as possible, and I'm going to show you why. So I mentioned that I'm going to stamp them twice. So now this is the second time I'm going to stamp that same exact image. So I'm aligning it on the piece of cardstock where I want it to go, and I'm just using a MISTI stamping tool. You don't have to use this tool. You can use a regular stamp block or whatever works for you. I just want to do the sentiment and the image at the same time. And then that little guy that I trimmed out of masking paper, he's going on top there. So that protects the image from what I am about to do. And then I trimmed another piece off. I just kind of chopped it. I think it's probably like 1.25 inches or something like that. And I'm going to place that over everything as well. So wherever you don't want the ink to go, that's where you're going to put your mask. So I put it on the guy, and now I'm putting it on that strip because I really want that strip to not have any color whatsoever. I'm just going to highlight that image, and then I have a little bit of kind of like a holiday feel in the background. So the stamp that I stamped says Happy Festivus. And I am using some Catherine Pooler inks here, and I sped it up really quick. I'm just going to use a few different ink colors. I'm using a blending tool, and basically you can see I know it's super fast, but I kind of tap off on a separate sheet of cardstock just to make sure I don't have too much ink. Less is more. You can always add more, but you can't take away. So I recommend light-handed and then add more as you need to. The more layers you need to do, even though it looks splashy when I was doing that, once it dries, it evens out and it looks really nice and smooth. So then I am taking this Kindred Stamps stencil. This is a candy cane stencil, and I'm coming in with a darker red ink, and I'm just kind of putting it in the corners. So again, here it does look kind of bright and vibrant, but once it dries, it really kind of like dulls out, and it really blends together. So I peeled off those masks, and now you can see what I'm talking about, where that guy and then that white area completely void of all ink and color and everything. So now I can go ahead and I can color him in. So I'm just using some alcohol markers here. If you want to use colored pencils or anything else, you could even do watercolor. Just remember when you're stamping initially, stamp it on watercolor cardstock. Otherwise your watercolors probably aren't going to work so great with regular cardstock. And I am just kind of simply coloring, adding some simple detail to him. Generally the way that I do it is I start light and then I add in the dark, and then I come back and I blend them together, whether I blend them with that light or if I have a medium tone marker. That's kind of like my in-between. You don't need a lot of markers to be able to get good effects. So keep that in mind. You can always, even if you have very minimal colors, you can always kind of blend those together. And even by using the same marker color and putting several layers, you can make a darker color. So then I wanted to add a little bit of shadow. So with that dark ink color, I just took a Q-tip and just kind of put it around his feet so it looks like he was standing there. And then I assembled the card. I just put this on a piece of green cardstock. And then for his glasses, I wanted to add in some glossy accents. So you can see what that looks like. This is the other card that I created using the same technique, just a different stencil and a different stamp. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great day today.